All right, so I wanted to show you kind of a little bit more of what was possible. I mean, I already went through, and if I edit and place this guy, you can pick that repeater and flip it out for another one. So I could go to the 1 inch one, or you could go to the division and change the division to something else. So, like, you know, 24, and hit apply, and it'll kind of update those, right? So you have that, but I want to sort of play around. Let me finish that mass, and I'm just going to hide the mass. So I'll hide that element, right? And then let's go ahead and view hide the walls and view hide the structural framing. So we're kind of down to just this little guy right here, which we made. So it's just a form. It's a mass form. So I'm going to pick it and edit in place. And what if you wanted like paneled windows, instead of um, those individual columns with that big wall through it? So what you can do is come in here and actually tab select in and pick the face. So if I pick that face, I can divide that surface. And so it's going to divide that surface up. And I can go to surface representation here and turn the nodes on. And then I'm just going to make it a little less complex. So maybe 3. Oh, let's do 6, right? And then I have this family that I made, this adaptive component family that I made. So I'm going to load it in. So it's a 6-point curving frame. So if I go in there and edit that, this is the way that you can get like a curved frame. So what's happening is if I go to wireframe, there's these adaptive points, and then there's a frame around it. And then there's also, if I go to shaded, there's a piece of glass in the middle of it as well. So, so I need to pick, when I go in, I'll pick 6 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it'll put that panel on there, right? So if I come in, if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it'll put that panel right there and repeat it. But I'm going to kind of double it. So I probably only need really 3 divisions. So if I did 3, right, I could pull this guy in and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it'll place that panel on there, and then I can repeat that panel, right? So if I repeat that panel, it puts that whole panel system on, right? So you can see it going through. It's not super neat, but it's closer to what you may want. And if you go to edit type, you can, change the frame material to something. I'll put a parking stripe on it again, right? And then I can change this to glass. Click OK. And then if you wanted this to be larger, you could change it to 3 inches and click OK, right? And so now you've got kind of this paneled wall system, right? If I come over here on this side um, and tab select into this face, right, I can divide that surface, and if I go to surface representation and turn the nodes on, I can do something different, like, let's see, got a flap. Let's see what this guy does. It's a 4-point. So if I come in and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, it's very pointy. Let's see if we can make it a little smaller. So there's the flat materials, but if I go, oops, cancel. If I go to edit type, yeah, it's like 5 feet. So I'll make this like 6 inches and maybe make this 20 degrees. Hit apply, right? So it's kind of this little flap thing, right? So if I pick that, it'll repeat itself across the face, right? It's going to take a while because there's quite a few of them. But so you got that. And then you have the option on this one, I think, also if I edit type. Oops, sorry. I have to tab select and I get the individual one. If I edit type, there's the flat material. So if I go in and change that to parking stripe, and it will update that guy to parking stripe, and the other one could be glazing or whatever. And you can flip these out for other 4 points. Or if I just delete this guy, right, you could use some kind of, let's see, this is a louver curved. Let's see how many, I don't know how many, probably 5. Let me edit it and see how many there are. Usually have 5. Yeah, so that has 5 points. So if I come in and do a curved louver, I can come in, let's see, let's hide that element so I can see the division. So if I come in and do this guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So let's edit that type and see. Why don't we make that like 6 inches and 4, maybe 2 inches, right? Click OK. So it's a little smaller, but let's see, what's the divisions on this? Because that's going to go 5. So I've got 12 and 12. It'll do 2, right? So if I repeat that, right, it'll go through and, whoa, must not have picked. I must have missed the pick point. That's what happens when you miss a pick point. So I must have, oh yeah, I got like a funky point over there, right? So if I come in and do that again, you have to be careful. Like this guy is overlapping, so you kind of have to be careful that you're picking the correct point. So if I come in and do 1, 2, 3, 4, right, 5 there. Now if I repeat it, it should, right, it'll repeat itself until it can't repeat itself anymore, right? So there's that guy, so the louvers. And then you could go in and if you edit that type, you'll get, like if I do, 40 degrees and apply, right, it'll rotate those guys down, right? So it's now closing those off. And where it's smaller, right, it's opening up. So it's big on the edges. So if I edit that type, you've got 6 inches and 2 inches. If I made this like 4 inches and apply, it'll get bigger in the middle, right? Or you could flip it where it's smaller on the sides, so 2 inches and, 1 foot. And now it's going to be really big in the middle and really small on the end, right? Whoops, I do something funky. Seems like that doesn't look right. Oh, 1 foot, right? So that would be 1 foot. So now it'll get super big in the middle, right? And small on the sides, if that makes sense. So there's lots of things that you can do. So if I reset my temporary hide isolate, I got a lot going on here. That orange is kind of annoying. Finish the mask. You could go in and change that if you go to the architecture, sorry, to manage and object styles. If you go to imported objects, it's going to show you the material that's on that orange. And you can actually just go to the appearance and maybe change it to like a light gray and maybe make it transparent, you know. Apply that. Let's see, is it not? Oh, and then the graphics use render appearance for shading, right? So if through, right? So it's not quite so orange. But anyway, and then if I go back and let's turn on all of the, I was turned on and off a bunch of stuff, so I didn't have to look at it. All right, so there's all that. And then if you go to your massing and site and show mask by view settings, you'll only, like, it turns off the masses, right? So I'm only seeing, you know, what I put on there. Anyway, that's it.